What is up, YouTube? Coming at y'all with another mock draft. This one right here is going to be the final mock draft before the big day tomorrow. Please subscribe to the channel, like, share, comment. Also, check out my Instagram, link down below. I got a special guest with me today in this mock draft. We're only going to be doing two people in this mock draft. It's just going to be me and him going back and forth. He has a pick, I has a pick. He has a pick, I have a pick. And let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and notification bell so you can be up to date on when the next video drops. All right. So with this mock draft, I will be joined by RYAX Draft. Follow his Instagram. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
What's up, guys? I review skill positions, post them on Instagram. Go check me out, RYAX Draft, and let's get into it.
Perfect. So with this mock draft, you guys already know the website I'm using, PFF, one of the best websites to use if you like to get information about NFL players, potential NFL players, and also getting information on the draft. Please check them out. You should be seeing it on your screen here pretty soon. All right, there we go. Took a little while. Um, with the first overall pick, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting the most um yeah, the best player in the draft as in my opinion. Also, I believe that this player there's no way that this player is falling out of the top 3. And also with this player, I believe that he has the lowest floor but not the highest ceiling. And with this player, he's a generational talent. His name is Aiden Hutchinson.
I mean, yeah, I've been seeing the rumors about Trayvon Walker going number all, but at the end of the day, I mean, they they can make the playoffs this year, and they're gonna need a good edge rusher this year to make that happen. At number two overall, I have the Lions here. They're basically in a Texan spot with just going best player available. Um, and with all the players on the board as of right now, I they said they didn't like Kayvon Thibodeau. I'm calling that a bluff. I say number two overall, Kayvon Thibodeau. He's just too good to pass up at two. I'm sorry if he doesn't love football as much as the rest of the players. The guy's a beast on the field.
Exactly. And there's some other players that they claim don't love football. But when you got somebody who's that good, I mean, come on. Give the guy a break. Maybe he's not as passionate about it, but people show their passion different ways. And just because you don't love your job doesn't mean that you're not good at it. We're on to this third pick. I have the Texans going with one of the best players in this year's draft. You see, PFF has the Texans needing basically every position, and I completely agree with them. So they're going ahead and getting the most sure player in this year's draft, in my opinion. His name is Ahmad Sauce Gardner.
I mean, yeah, that's a great pick right there. You know, they're going to be in the AFC this year with some crazy offenses and some crazy quarterbacks. I have him at number four this year. I mean, he could be picked.
Definitely.
As
And next up, we have the Jets. You're on the clock.
So with the fourth pick here, I mean, they're not as every position. Like they don't need every position, but they still need most of the positions. I think that considering that there's three good receivers still on the board, I think they can go with another position here, and a lot of people are saying that five, six, and seven can all be offensive linemen, which would be insane. Um, I'm gonna go Ike Mekwanu. Not my tackle one, but a lot of people's tackles ones. And at the end of the day, it's up to what the Jets are gonna do, not to what I would do.
Facts. With Icky, I think he's going to be a sure thing in the next level. He's a huge guy out there as a tackle. He looked like an NFL tackle that was playing college ball last year. It was absolutely ridiculous. With the number 5 overall pick, I have the New York Giants selecting a player that may surprise some people. This player, um, one of the best players in this year's draft. His projected draft landing spots pretty much range anywhere from 1 to 10, but I have him coming off the board here at 5. His name is Trayvon Walker.
I mean, that's a great pick there. Some people say he's good enough to go one. Why not go five? Definitely a player that's gonna need to be taught up. But I mean, Giants are not scared of a challenge.
You say that
Um,
again.
at number six, this is an interesting one because there's two offensive tackles on the board, and there's also Malik Willis. Malik Willis, I do feel that the Panthers aren't going to take this year. I think they've invested a ton in quarterbacks in the past 2 years, and I don't think that they're going to want to use this pick on that too because I'm going to be honest, I don't think anything that they do here will save Matt Rule's job. So I say that the front office is just going to want to take the best pick there. Um, and Evan Neal's the best player, but Charles Cross is the best fit. And I think that they're going to need best player available here, so I'm going to go Evan Neal out of Alabama.
Evan Neal. His draft stock has dropped a little bit since this morning. Some news came out that he has some medical concerns, but hey, I mean, you play football. Everybody has medical concerns. We're on to the next pick. Got the Giants with their second pick in the first round. I have them selecting a player that they hope will hopefully change their franchise around. This particular player um, is a player that may become a household name. This player's name is. I was going to select a wide receiver, but then I thought about it and I thought about their roster, and they definitely are not going to bring another wide receiver in this room. Denzel Mims, they just got him. Elijah Moore is okay. Corey Davis is
No,
okay.
no, no. That's the Jets, bro.
Oh gosh, I'm glad you said something. Um, they're trying to get rid of Tony. Sterling Shepard is okay. Kenny Galladay is okay. Slayton is okay. Yeah, I
But
don't
they're
think they're
still
gonna
paying these
go.
people a bag.
I think they're gonna go Jameson Williams. I think they will go with this particular pick, getting another edge rusher off of the board. I say they're the Giants. They're gonna reach. They're gonna reach. They're gonna get Jermaine Johnson the second out of Florida State. Great pickup for them, I believe. Jermaine Johnson, one of the best edge rushers in this year's draft. With Jermaine, the main thing that I looked at with this tape was how often he got after the quarterback. Not necessarily touched the quarterback, but how often he got back there and hurt the quarterback. Had a great career at Florida State, and now he's on to the cold weather. Next up, we have the Falcons. You're on the clock.
I mean, just about the Jermaine Johnson pick. I have him as number 13 on my big board, but like if you look at what the offseason is meant for, what the Senior Bowl is meant for, what the combine is meant for, it's meant for players that didn't necessarily show up so well on tape to show
Mm-hmm.
why they deserve to be picked this high. And Jermaine Johnson did all of that and more. So coming up to eight with my Falcons, there's a couple ways that we can go with this. Um, I do think that the Falcons will always go best player overall. They did it last year. Um, I have a suspicion that they'll do it this year. If Kyle Hamilton's there, I think I'm gonna have to take him. It's just their draft style by now.
Great pickup. If Kyle Hamilton drops down to 8, I'm pretty sure Atlanta will pick him up. Or they're at number 9, he'll get picked up by the Seahawks. At number 9, we have the Seahawks finally getting on the board with their pick that they got from Denver. In Denver right now, or about this time tomorrow, we're going to be watching Russell Wilson highlights. But let's go ahead and get back to the Seattle Seahawks. I think that they're going to select with the number 9 pick a tackle. The best tackle on the board right now is Charles Cross. Last year, we seen Russell Wilson get hit a lot, and when you're putting all your eggs in one basket, which is Drew Lock. They're not going after Baker Mayfield, but even if they do get Baker Mayfield, they need to protect the quarterback. And I believe they're going to go with Charles Cross if he's available. Next up, we have the Jets. And I have a trade offer for you.
Okay.
All right. With this particular trade, I'm pretty sure you may know where I'm going with this, but I am
Pretty
going
sure I
to
do.
go ahead and offer you the big bully Debo for a first, next year second, a fourth for Debo Samuel.
I mean, yeah, I'm down with that. I think that the Jets would take this no doubt in real life. Um, and the 49ers, I feel like it's better to do this than have him, you know, be like a kind of Deshaun Watson role in this, you know, sit outside of practices, not play. It's just not worth it for them, especially because I don't know if they did pay him or are going to have to pay him soon. It's not worth it.
Facts. You can say that again. We got a trade that went down. Now we had the 49ers. You're on the clock.
So obviously they just lost Debo Samuel, and the first thing that comes to mind is who is someone that not necessarily can replace him, but can fit inside of this offense and you know play at that level. Right? The 49ers are a team that can make like the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl, but they're not a team that has to go all in this year. And that's why I'm going to go with Jameson Williams. I mean, he liked Raheem Mostert in the backfield, like the things that Kyle Shanahan could do with Jameson Williams. There's been talks of him being the number one receiver. I'm pretty sure he is going to have to sit out the first month of the NFL, but I mean, last year he was easily the best receiver in the NCAA, and if it wasn't for the injury, he would have been a top 3 pick, top 5 pick.
Facts. His tape looks amazing. His route running is top tier. Love to watch his film, and I also love the move that he made with making a gamble on himself and getting and putting in his transfer papers and going to Alabama. You see where he's at. This time last year, he wasn't even in talks for being a third round pick, let alone the first round. He went out there, put it all on himself, and now look at him. He's for sure a top 15 pick um, tomorrow, really. Next up, we got the Washington Commanders finally on the clock. I have them going ahead and building up something that Washington has not had for a very long time. And what I am referring to is a good offensive line. I think they're going to go with one of the best interior linemen in this year's draft. His name is Zion Johnson.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. They lost a massive piece of their offensive line this year, and I mean, Zion Johnson, I would usually say that's a bit early for him, but after what I've been hearing the past couple of days, that Tyler Linderbaum might fall out of the first round, which sounds crazy to me because, I mean, I have him as I think a top 15 player, and at some point, I think actually I have him as a top 10 player in my draft. He's a crazy good player with crazy good tape, and they're saying it's because of off field stuff. I mean, that'd be a crazy thing to happen. And I think this pick is really realistic. It's something that could happen tomorrow, especially with Washington, considering what they did last year in taking Jamin Davis.
What's going on, Daily Dynasty Show? Make sure you guys check him out. You said who Davis? My bad.
Jamin Davis that they took last year when they had Jeremiah Osukormo still on the board. I mean, they just showed they're taking their player no matter where it is.
Facts.
With the 12th pick on the Vikings, I mean, I think this is a dream position for them. I had this in my earlier mocks because I'm a little bit lower on Stingley than most people. But yeah, Stingley, 12. They could possibly get a replacement for Patrick Peterson. I know it was a while ago, but they could get a replacement for what Patrick Peterson did. And again, they're not a team that has to win this year necessarily. And if it takes a year to develop him, it's not the end of the world. I mean, Adam Thielen maybe out of there, but besides that, there isn't. And Harrison Smith maybe big players, but not things that can break their team.
Exactly. I think Derek Singh will be a perfect fit for the Vikings, as well as George Kavloftis. Really look forward to what he can bring to a franchise at the next level. And speak of him, with the next pick, I have the Texans going ahead and getting my guy from Purdue off the board. His name is George Kavloftis. Next up, we have the Baltimore Ravens. You're on the clock.
When I think of what the Baltimore Ravens are going to take, I mean, this just pops out to me, especially because I think Miami can take him with the next pick. Trent McDuffie's available, and I think he's exactly what they would want in a corner. And I don't think they care as much as about size as other people think they do. I mean, he has great tackling, so it's not like it really affects him. And especially with the new, like, again, I'm going to say this with every corner that I'm going to take in the AFC. This AFC is going to be insane when it comes to passing the football. So, yeah.
Great pickup for them. They need another cornerback that can tackle. Because last year Marlon Humphrey, he didn't miss a lot of tackles, but he didn't finish on a lot of tackles, and that's what really matters. At this next level, Trent McDuffie's tape. He is a great tackler. He's wrapping around on all of his tackles. He's not just hitting people high and hoping that they hit the ground. Next up, we have the Eagles with their next pick, and I think they're going to go ahead and get one of the best linebackers in this year's draft. Early. His name is Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd, I believe, can replace the linebacker that they had starting for them last year that they lost because my Broncos signed him. That linebacker was a hybrid linebacker. Wasn't too good in the run, was great in coverage, and that is exactly what Devin Lloyd can be. You can also add um, some more skills to Devin Lloyd. You can't really do that for an older player that was playing in the CFL years prior. But next up, we have the New Orleans Saints. You're on the clock.
I mean, as a Falcons fan, I hope they take Drake London because I think he's going to be a bust. But I'm going to be realistic here, and if Garrett Wilson's still on the board, he is my number one receiver. I think he's a top 5 player for me. He's at number 4 or 5 for me, and they love their Ohio State guys. I mean, I have them taking Chris Olave, but if Garrett Wilson's there, then
Preach. Garrett Wilson, he his route running, seriously, he has some of the best route running I've seen since like Jerry Judy. It's just beautiful to watch some of these NFL prospects finally be able to look at film or look at another wide receiver and say, hey, if I can get out of this cut in 3 steps, that's going to give me 2 extra steps on a cornerback who's going to take 5 of them. It's just great to see somebody actually implementing that in their game. And Garrett Wilson does it each and every play. Love to see it. Next up, we have the Chargers on the clock. I'm going to go with best player available. This player is an athletic freak. His
yes,
name
sir.
is Jordan Davis. I think that they really could use some assistance on that D line. Their D line is already going to be crazy, and it seems as though the Chargers are just looking to build a Space Jam type of team. And they already got Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, J.C. Jackson. Seems like this defense is just going to be ridiculous. You might as well go ahead and put somebody else on that D line to give Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa some 101s, which will definitely help them in the AFC. Next up, we have the Eagles. You're on the clock.
Great pick, by the way. It's number 18. I definitely think this can be a place where Drake London is drafted. Um, just because again they need a receiver. I'm not saying that they're gonna mess up this pick, but how many times have they messed up a receiver pick? And I think the two main receivers for me on the board right now are between Chris Olave and Drake London. Um, I will take Chris Olave for one reason, and that is last year they didn't care about size, so why would they draft a player purely based on size? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And with the Eagles, they don't have that down the field receiver. Yes, they have a big body in Devontae, but they need somebody who's going to be able to get double teams or at least stretch the field rather than Devontae getting doubled the whole game. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints, and with this pick, I believe that the New Orleans Saints are going to go with one of the best players in this year's draft. Um, Hang on, didn't they lose Williams, their safety?
That
The
sounds
one
right.
that
I
blew
think he
that
went to the
tackle
Jets or
on
something.
Stephon Diggs. Didn't he sign
I think
somewhere
he
else?
went to the
Marcus
Jets.
Williams?
I think he went to the Jets. I'm pretty sure. No, he's
Oh
on the Baltimore
wow.
Ravens.
Baltimore. Baltimore. Oh, that's crazy. Wow. I did not think about that until now. That kind of changes where I think they should go. Because they're not really going to be able to replace him so easily. Lewis Sign is great. Jaquan Brisker is great as well. I definitely think that the Saints will try to move back out of this pick. But I believe they're going to go with one of the best wide receivers in this year's draft. His name is Drake London. He's finally off the board. Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're on the clock.
And easiest pick in the draft. I mean, you already went to quarterback. They said how much they love Malik Willis. I mean, I think this is the easiest pick, and I think this is the worst kept secret of the draft, honestly.
Yeah, you can say that again. When Mike Tomlin went to go see Malik Willis, he was smiling like this in that picture. Malik Willis, great tape, great player on and off the field. Can't wait to see what he does at the next level. Yeah, he may be a bit of a project, but Mike Tomlin's the perfect place to be, besides Bill Belichick. Who's up with the next pick? And I have the Patriots selecting with their first pick in the draft. One of the best edge rushers in this year's draft. Pro Football Focus is doing my guy dirty. Nick Bonito. We all
I
know
mean,
the
this def
Patriots are known for reaching, but we all know the Patriots are known for getting nice players in the draft. No matter if it's the first, second, or third round, Nick Bonito is, in my opinion, one of the best edge rushers in this year's draft. And in my opinion, he's definitely a top 20 player in this year's draft. Not a lot of people are talking about it because his tape is pretty rough to look at. Some of it is in bad quality, some of it isn't. But 33 hurries, bro. 32 hurries last year. The guy's an animal. Yeah, he doesn't have 15 sacks or even 10, but he's almost getting there, which is amazing to see. Next up, we
yeah.
have the Packers on the clock.
See, this is again another one of those picks of did they learn from their mistakes or not. I think the Seahawks will have learned from their mistakes and will actually build around the new quarterback, whether it's this year or next year. Um, but I don't know if the Packers will stick to that. They're I mean, there's still Jahan Dotson on the board, who I think will be a great fit in on the Packers, and we already saw Debo get traded. I don't think Adrian Brown or DK is getting traded, so I think Jahan Dotson's my pick. You know, he has crazy hands. I have him as my number 5 receiver on the board. Um, like overall, he has decent route running. He is on the smaller side, but again, that catching is crazy. And if they want, they can move him around too.
Facts. Um, Pro Football Focus has
Not on
this guy
Jahan
right
Dotson.
here
Oh yeah,
climbing. What's been going on? Because just last week he definitely wasn't where he is
no.
right
So
now.
Jalen Tolbert was someone that at the beginning had some crazy hype right after the Senior Bowl. I only watched his tape because of that. I think I have him as my 11th player right after like David Bell and Christian Watson in that area. He's
Yeah.
definitely a good player. The only problem is if you go to an actual college and then put South in front of it, I don't think that's really considered a good college. I mean, how sad is the South Alabama Jaguars?
Facts.
Um, but yeah, he was great in the combine. I mean, here I have him as a great route runner, a playmaker, great speed, great quickness. But I also my first sentence of my review is there's a lot with Jalen Tolbert, but one thing that scares scouts away. You know, just getting it off the board. He's definitely a playmaker though. See
Yeah,
how high
this
he
is
started?
surprising. The fact that okay, so Christian Watson after the draft, he was above George Pickens, and he's completely dropped on here. This is very surprising. But hey, the draft is tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Next up, we have the Cardinals, and I believe that the Cardinals, they need to keep Kyler up or whoever is going to be their quarterback next year. Their offensive line a lot of times was out of shape, out of position, and just completely out of the play. They got to go with an interior offensive lineman. You might as well go with the best one available. His name is Tyler Lindenbaum. Next up, we have the Dallas Cowboys. You're on the clock.
Dallas Cowboys is a fun one here. I had a mock draft. I think it was my second one where I took Devonte Wyatt here, and oh my gosh, did the Cowboys fans, really give it to me. Um, that was a fun one. But they were very insistent, and this could be true because I don't follow. I haven't taken a deep dive into the Cowboys unlike other rosters. So I'm gonna go with a little bit of what they say. And can you go to the IOLs for me? I mean, they said they wanted Zion Johnson. He's not here, but Kenyon Green's still a beast. Good college, so if he has good tape, good college. Not always equal good NFL player, but can get drafted high easily.
Definitely, Kenyon Green would be a hell of a pick for them. Um, I'm not a Cowboy hater, but I don't root for the Cowboys. If they get him, I probably would be mad. But we're on to the next pick. We have the Buffalo Bills. They don't have a lot of positions that they really need help with. They have a lot of um, positions that they're pretty much excelling in, if you ask me. They're one of those teams that could have been a Super Bowl team last year. They just lost in overtime, but that's besides the point. I think they're going to go with the player you mentioned just seconds ago, Devontae Wyatt, if he's available on the board. One of the best defensive linemen in this year's draft. His tape is amazing. His stats don't really tell the full story, as a lot of Georgia players, their stats don't tell the full story because they had so much talent on that defensive end. Players were just trying to get whatever tackles came close to them. Next up, we
I
have
mean,
the Titans. You're on the clock.
just about the Bills pick for a second. They just re-signed Ed Oliver, and seeing Devonte Wyatt and Ed Oliver, I mean, rushing up the middle, that's gonna be a scary sight.
With Von Miller on the
Um,
edge.
yup. With the Titans pick, they could take a receiver here, which honestly, I'm just gonna go for it. Let's have AJ Brown 2.0 with AJ Brown, Traylon Burks. I would have taken him at 22. I'll be honest, I didn't fully see that he was there, but I mean, the Titans, if they drafted him once, why not draft him again?
Facts. And I think he's AJ Brown 2.0, just like you said. He had an amazing career, has amazing tape. He absolutely lit up Bama when they played. I think he's going to be a pretty nice NFL player. I think he'll have a career similar to Anquan Bolden, if you ask me. Next up, we have the Bucks, and I think they're going to try to keep Tom Brady up. This next player that I'm
Same.
drafting, he is a tackle, but with tackles, with a lot of offensive linemen, you can move them around. He's not listed right here. He's actually a little bit below. His name is Trevor Penning.
I mean, yeah, he's definitely a player that I didn't really understand why his draft stock has fallen in the past week or two. I haven't even seen a report about why or like if it's a personal thing, but I mean, he's a beast, and some people are saying he can go top 10. I think that's a little high for him, but he's
Yeah.
definitely a crazy good player, and the Bucks would be unfair with him, but would be happy to get him.
Thanks. Next up, we have the Packers pick. You're on the clock.
I mean, the Packers had John Dotson before. I think their only real need now is keeping Aaron Rodgers happy and up. Um, and Bernard Raymond is a really good player. I actually heard about his story today. He's a great story. You guys can go check it out. Didn't even pick up a football till he was like 13 or something. Didn't even know what it was. Is not was not born in America. I don't remember where it was. It was it Greece or something. Don't where he was born. He didn't go to high school there. I don't remember exactly. But Bernard Raymond's a beast, and I think he has a lot to prove in this draft. And I mean, I hope he's going to prove it.
Yeah, his tape is beautiful. If the Packers get him, I'm pretty sure they'll be all ears, especially Aaron Rodgers. Next up, we have the Chiefs with back-to-back picks. With their first pick in the first round, I believe that they're going to go ahead and choose a wide receiver with this first pick. This particular wide receiver can definitely take them to the next level. Um, it is crazy what PFF did. So John Mechie the third, they had him in the hundreds, like down here. Now he's all the way up here. This is
I
crazy.
mean, I'm gonna be completely honest with you about PFF, but in the draft, they just have something. I don't know what's happening there.
Yeah, like these changes are ridiculous. I think that they're going ahead, or they will go ahead and pick a player that had a great career at Georgia. His name is George Pickens. This particular player was good in 50-50 balls. I believe he won
Yes, sir.
80% of them. He did have an injury last year that kind of shot his draft stock, but I believe he's one of the best wide receivers in this year's draft. Next up, we have the Chiefs with their second pick. You're on the clock.
I mean, they solved their need at receiver. Maybe not solved, but definitely added to that receiving core that I think will surprise some people next year. Um, but this is a pick where I think it's almost automatic that they're gonna have to go DB. They have Legarius Sneed, but besides that, it's really rough there. It's really rough. And I'm gonna go with a player who who I personally have way higher, like way higher than other players in Jalen Petrie. He can play anywhere, and when I say anywhere, he can play anywhere. Even play he played a lot of slot and rush the passer, which will definitely help in some cool blitzes that they could do. He was a top 5 DB for me this year. I Most people would say I'm crazy, but the guy has some crazy stats. And if you watch his tape, he looks like a type of Jamal Adams player. Not at that level, but that good at rushing the passer and getting tackles behind the line.
Definitely, anytime you have a starter at the college level not give up a single touchdown at cornerback, that is absolutely amazing. I think Jalen Petrie can definitely be a household name. Next up, we have the Bengals with their first pick. I think that they're going to go ahead and try to bring in a young offensive lineman to add to the offensive lineman that they've already signed during this free agency. They look to bring in some players that will hopefully keep Joe Burrow's jersey clean. I believe that they're gonna go with my guy Luke Gadet. He's to me one of the best linemen in this year's draft. I'm not sure why PFF has his rank so low, even though they're giving him an over 90 grade, which is pretty peculiar. But hey, I got them going and getting that guy at that particular position. We're on to the Lions with their next pick.
I mean, I think that's definitely a pick that could happen, and that would shock a lot of people. With the pick 32, this is at least for what I see, it's take the best second rounder that is there, and um, there are still great corners on the board. They messed up with their pick last year in Jeff Okuda, or 2 years ago, sorry, in Jeff Okuda. Last year they took a tackle, and their secondary was really rough this year. A lot of people have Andrew Booth higher than this player, but I have Kyrie Elam as one of the best corners in this draft. I think he's a beast, put up some great tape, and I think he's one of like the most rounded players in the draft.
Facts. I completely agree. His tape was amazing. Florida, they didn't um, have a great season, but he was always pretty consistent in all the film that I watched. This is how the mock draft ended up, you guys. Please let us know your comments down below. Hit up our Instagrams. Please follow us and definitely subscribe for more content I definitely believe this is one of the best drafts that I did. This is the final draft. Tomorrow's the big
Yes,
day.
sir.
Join me tomorrow as I will be live during the entire draft, just sitting around chilling, talking about everything, reacting to everything that's going on. Come chill with your boy.
Yeah.
All right, and RYA, you can go ahead and give them all your information. I'm going to DM you something real quick.
Okay. So you guys can catch me at RYAX Draft. I watch film. I post about the players. I try to keep it a little concise, but doesn't always work. I usually do skill players, and lately I've been putting out my top 50 on my mock draft. So, yeah, go check it out. My top three will be launching tomorrow.
Boom. And that's it. Everybody, thank you for joining. We're on to the next one. If you're still here, don't worry. We got another show that's going to start up in about 3 minutes. Please stick around. Adroit Talks, we're out of here.
See ya.